Hello, welcome to episode 9. Can you believe it? Episode 9 of my journey with the Enchanted map by Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reid and illustrated by Jenna Della Bertaglia. Today is Monday, May 25th, 2020, and it is Memorial Day. So before I get into the Oracle cards, I do want to say I come from a military family. My father served and fought in a war, as did his father, my uncle, my brother, my two brother in laws, and the third brother in law was in the National Guard here in the States. So our family was lucky enough to not have any casualties of war. Um, However, my family has certainly fought side by side with men who had lost their lives, and that impacted certain family members greatly. Anytime somebody fights in a war, and this is my experience coming from, again, a family, not only just a military family, but a military family where members fought in wars for our freedom and for the life we live today. Even though we didn't lose any family members, they certainly lost a part of themselves um, because of the wars and because of what they saw and experienced. So I have a lot of respect, and on this Memorial Day, I certainly have a lot of gratitude for those who um, fought and lost their lives so that I can be here today doing this. So thank you. All right. So episode 9. Last time we met, I had pulled Talisman in the upright position. And because I am so techno savvy now, I can share my screen. Nope, we're not going to share that one. We're going to share this screen. And then, bear with me. I know, I just was bragging about how techno savvy I am. Okay. There we go. That's what you get for bragging, right? Okay, so this was the card I pulled in the upright position. Just a gorgeous card. And since we last talked, I didn't get a whole lot more other than what I had already shared. I think that the biggest thing for me was wisdom as my talisman. And honestly, the wisdom um, that I tap into when I use the oracle cards is a touchstone. I know it's not an object, but it is a part of me that is truthful and honest, and I know that I can trust. And that's the whole point of doing work with the oracle cards. It's about discovering that part of you that is intuitive and wise and has your best interest and knows your soul's purpose. So that was a good card for me, a great lesson. I will stop that share so we can move on to today's card. I want to talk a little bit about questions. One of the things that Colette talks about is that I've already mentioned in some of my earlier videos is that you don't ask yes or no questions, and I think I've made that clear. Oracle cards are not predictive, so they help you look at you look at the symbols and the different images on the card. You feel into it. You get in touch with that voice inside yourself that we typically push down or bypass or go, oh, that's silly, you better not say that out loud. And we open that up and we go with that. and we start looking at ourselves. And that's how we open up that unconscious part. And a lot of people ask me, how do you do shadow work? Because I'm really big at trying to look at those unconscious parts of us, and that's one of the ways you do that. Dream work number one is, to me, the biggest, most important way to start doing unconscious work, looking at your unconscious or your shadow self. That shadow self is that part of us that we don't want to look at, that we disown. It's like, when you meet somebody that has some type of behavior that just really sets you off and makes you upset and angry, that's your shadow. That's your disowned part of you. That's your shadow self. Everything that everything around us, the people that trigger us, is a reflection of something inside of us. So if we resonate with somebody, if we really like what they're saying, we agree with it, we're on that wavelength, that's that part of us that we own and that we use in the world and that we like. Those negative parts that we see in others that trigger us, again, that's the part that it actually may be useful to look at and like, oh my, why am I having such a defensive reaction? What is it in me that I need to look at? So again, you don't ask yes or no questions. The other thing about Colette's decks in particular, and this again is not true about every Oracle deck out there, I'm just talking about Colette Baron Reid's decks. You do not ask medical questions. She makes that very clear, and she's very adamant about that. You do not ask health-related questions. So you may see I have not asked anything about that. She did not create these decks with that intention, so they do not work for health-related questions. The other thing I want to talk about, which is going to lead to the question I'm going to ask today, is when you're first getting to know a deck, it's important to understand how the deck's going to serve you. I have probably about 15, 16 decks now, and they're all very different. And I use them for different reasons, different purposes. Sometimes I just have a knowing, I'll be talking to somebody or working with a client, and a certain deck is like, pick me, pick me, pick me. And it's like, okay, I'm going to work with this deck for whatever reason. And I just trust that now. Other times I look at the themes we're working with or what we're talking about, and I know how certain decks serve me. And how do I know? I ask the deck. I ask, how is this deck to serve me? And so that's, since I'm newly learning the Enchanted map, I have not asked this deck, how will you serve me? So I thought, well, that will be a great question to ask today. So I am going to go ahead and go through my shuffling ritual, my grounding ritual, my clearing ritual, all of which I have talked about in many of the other episodes. And so if you haven't seen those, there's probably more details in there. Today I intend to release my ego so that I may receive messages from the one universal source. I intend to receive these messages with clarity, discernment, and honesty, in love and in light. How is the Enchanted map going to serve me as I do as I take my journey to become my most authentic, genuine self. How is the enchanted map going to serve me as I take my journey in becoming my most authentic, genuine self? Ooh, balancing act. I'm so excited. I was very excited for this question. Okay, so let's pull this up on the screen. Very, very beautiful card. I know I say that about all the cards because it's true. All of the cards are very beautiful. Share. It's a good thing I have long arms so that I can do this. I'm sure there's people that have like remotes or something where they don't have to lean forward and futz with their computer. Okay, so this is the card. So I'm going to just relax, breathe, feel into the card. Um, I think the first thing that hits me is it's all very white. It's there's not a lot of color except for the contrast with the red hearts coming off this ship, which is on a sphere, which is on a tightrope, trying to balance. And I feel like the woman holding the rope is also trying to balance. It's interesting. It's like, she's trying to hold the rope. She's holding up her dress, her gown, and then it's almost like there was a pillar underneath her that might move. Like she's not necessarily totally stable, even though she's upright and straight and's got that rope pulled pretty tight. And the ship isn't, it's off center a little bit, but the things are not falling. So I get the feeling that they're coming into balance. Um, yeah, they're not quite there yet. I don't get the sense that they're falling out of balance. I have the sense that they're coming into balance, and she's up in the sky, and so to me that's my higher self. That's that, even the mental, if you will. I am a Libra. I am an air sign. Libra, the scales, the balancing. Um, so of course I really resonate with this card. The number 11 is a master number for those of you in numerology. It's a significant number. Hmm. Let's see what the book has to say. Very neat. So this is about how this deck is going to serve me in my journey. You are calm within, no matter the fluctuation of outer conditions. There are times when things seem a bit topsy-turvy, and it feels as if you're juggling 1,000 balls in the air. Perhaps you're unsure of your footing. Now is the moment to evaluate which areas of your life need balance and then restore equilibrium. Choose harmony over discord, and great success will be yours. You'll find inner stability when you choose a balanced, focused, and level path. Oh, this is fascinating. I love this. So, this is, and again, all of the other decks that I have asked this question of, this is not the answer I got for any of my other decks. So, how cool is that, right? So the Enchanted Map deck in particular will help me to balance, right? It's going to help me to balance my outer conditions with my inner conditions. Um, so, for an example, when I feel out of sync or not in alignment, you have those days where you just don't know what's wrong. You're like, something, I'm off. I'm off today. That might be a time when I would pull this deck. What do I need to know to get back in alignment? And that's actually one of my general questions that I've been asking this deck a lot lately. Um, so I almost intuitively felt that that's what it helps me with, is that internal balance, right? So very, very good, very cool. I I'm going to do some journaling on that, and I look forward to revealing some more about this tomorrow. And until then, namaste. Have a great day.